Hey guys, welcome back to my page, Fearfully and Wonderfully Made. I'm Mia, and today we will be diving into 5 categories that are vital to any healthy relationship. I am going through a book right now called Emotionally Healthy Relationships. But when you put all 5 of these practices together, it's called a community temperature reading, or CTR for short. And basically the purpose of this is to have your voice be heard, but also to hear from others things that you might otherwise never know or never had asked or never had thought of. This is the building block skill to healthy relationships. So with that being said, it's not meant to be super heavy. These are lighthearted. The intention is really just connection with other people, as well as the ability to discover and share your voice. But with all that being said, all 5 categories are vital to having a healthy relationship. My heart is that the things that I come on and share would really encourage you guys, but also that I would be able to share things that I'm learning and that I'm practicing and that I'm finding on my journey. The goal of life is to be like Christ, and God gave us a voice for a reason. He gave us our feelings and emotions for a reason, and there are healthy and unhealthy ways to express them. With that being said, God also created us for the first category, which is appreciations. Not being able to receive appreciation and not having gratitude when other people show you appreciation. So it is a two-way street. It's a giving and a receiving. So the first category is learning how to give and receive appreciation. God wired us all to give and receive gratitude. So just kind of like sitting down, like for instance with me and my husband, one of the things that I'm so appreciative of, but that I don't really express a lot, is my husband emptying the dishwasher. When it's 5 o'clock in the morning and he's headed to the fire department and I'm upstairs, still snoozing, and I can hear him clanging around, putting the pots and pans away. I am so appreciative of that. I love that. It makes me so happy, and I don't always say something. So having this CTR and checking in every day, that kind of gives you that space and that opportunity to say, hey, hun, if you couldn't think of anything else in the day, because it's just the beginning of my day, if you can't think of anything else in the day, hey, hun, I appreciate you emptying the dishwasher. Even though it's his chore, whether for you that's you expect your kids to do their homework, you expect your husband to put gas in your car, you expect your wife to cook dinner, whatever it is, it makes you happy, right? And if they didn't do it, you would definitely not be happy, and you would probably tell them about it. So I feel like for me, one of the things that I am, really trying to practice is sharing those appreciations, but also when I receive appreciation, being grateful for that as well and receiving that well. Because I know when something doesn't happen that I want to happen, I certainly will say something, which kind of leads into the second category, which is puzzles, are essentially how to appropriately communicate when someone does something that you didn't expect or you didn't like or that you're not happy about. When that happens, we often jump to assumptions, right? We will start making up stories about why this happened or what they're thinking. Like, for example, if somebody doesn't text me back immediately, maybe I'm not important enough to them, they don't care about me, they're mad at me, I said something to upset them, they didn't like what I said. We come up with these stories in our head that are just not true. We're making up and we're assuming and we are telling ourselves, and these are also stories that we've never confirmed with the other person, and yet they affect the way that we behave, the way that we act. We will then avoid people or be angry with them, not talk to them, hold a grudge against them for a story that we fabricated, you know? The biggest thing here is to ask yourself, what is the story you're telling yourself? Is it a positive story or a negative story? With whichever one, it's always an assumption until you ask the person. When we assume, we're more likely to assume something negative, and we get bitter and we get resentful, and that changes the way that we walk and that we talk with those people and just in life. So instead of doing that, a healthy alternative would be, hey hun, like, I'm puzzled. I messaged you at noon and you didn't get back to me until 6. Whatever you say, listen and receive the information that they are giving. If it is negative, don't immediately like jump back. Like, we're so quick to be like, well, that's not right, you should do that, da da da, and like attack people for where they're coming from. If you want people to genuinely communicate to you why they did something and be honest, when they are honest, you can't attack them, you know? As hard as it is, if I'm like, hey, I'm puzzled, you're supposed to empty the dishwasher every morning and it's still full, so I couldn't load the dishes for tonight, and they're like, well, I didn't feel like it, why didn't you do it? Our flesh will want to rip their heads off, but instead we need to remain calm. We need to put off ourselves, and we need to be like Christ. So that kind of leads into the next category, which is complaints with solutions. Generally, there are 2 types of people. In that situation, maybe you're the type of person that if your husband were to say that to you, you would just shut down. Like, I'm not going to say anything, screw him. Like, if it's like your parent, like, I can't believe they would say that to me, I'm never talking to them again. If it's your sibling, like, oh, like, we're not friends anymore, like, you know, and then we just harbor that. Like, we harbor that grudge, we harbor that bitterness, and we don't let it go, and then it sits on our chest. And we don't say anything to them, we don't give them, you know, an opportunity to improve the relationship or that opportunity to know us well. We just say nothing. Or there's, you know, the opposite end of the spectrum where, you know, if your spouse were to say something to you along the lines of like, I don't feel like doing it, like, why don't you just do it yourself? And then we immediately come to like the attack, and it's like, this is your job, you should do this, like, you know, I don't care about this, I don't care about that, like, this should be done. And it's just like nag, 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 you know? The goal of this is for us to be aware of and take responsibility for our stuff. I can be angry with my husband for not doing something, and, you know, even if I was confused and he confirmed that, you know, he just didn't feel like doing it, it was actually negative, that anger that I'm feeling, that's mine. And I need to take responsibility for that and not just be critical and bitter and, you know, holding a grudge. A good, healthy alternative to that would be to say, okay, well, I noticed that you didn't empty the dishwasher, and I prefer that it gets unloaded every morning so that when I'm doing the dishes throughout the day, that I'm able to load them immediately. Put it out there. I feel like I'm always saying a closed mouth doesn't get fed. I don't know where that came from, but kind of along those lines, if you have someone in your life constantly like messing up, constantly doing stuff that's like, you know, rude, rubbing people the wrong way, like, they're just like awful, but no one says anything to them. How can you be mad at them for not changing when you've never expressed, hey, this is something I don't like and this is what I would prefer? Because there is a big difference between, hey, I just don't like this, I don't like that, I don't like when you do this, I don't like when you do that, and it's just whiny, it's just critical, like everything they do is wrong. And then that's where people get that feeling of like, it doesn't matter what I do, nothing I do is right, da da da. That's where that idea comes from, is me telling you all the time what I don't like, but not telling you what I prefer. What's vital to a relationship is that complaints have solutions. If you need time when you're puzzled about something to come up with a solution, take the time. If there is tension, if you guys are you know, fighting and things like that, maybe just skip it altogether. Because like we said in the preface, the entire point of this is to be light. It's supposed to bring you together. It's a building block, right? So if this is going to escalate into some huge argument, maybe just skip the puzzles and the complaints and just stick with appreciations, which kind of leads us into the next practice, which is new information. So essentially what this is what it says. Anything that's new, anything that, you know, happens throughout your day. In my life, you know, my husband doesn't have social media, so if I'm posting something on social media, if somebody likes something, if somebody ordered a sweatshirt on Etsy or, you know, ordered one of my trackers, like, things like that would be like new information. If you went out to a new place for lunch, or if you caught up with a friend, if something's happening in your family, if you're changing your plans for the weekend, things that, you know, they didn't know before. With my husband, he's a firefighter, so he is gone for, you know, long stretches of time where we don't have that like constant catch up with each other. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? Like, I like to have that face-to-face time where we're genuinely connecting and genuinely sharing, and I can see, you know, his reactions. He can see how things are making me feel, and not just like words on a screen, but like my body, my face, and things like that. I think that's something vital to share, even with, you know, your children, like sitting down to dinner every night and, you know, going through appreciations and new information. Like, hey guys, what are you grateful for today? And what's something new that happened today? Is it something new that you learned in school? Is it someone new that you met? What's new? This is something that is meant to be a building block for all relationships, and it kind of works however you want it to work. And the last practice is sharing your hopes and wishes. So alongside of like new things that are going on, that could also trigger, you know, new hope or wish. Maybe you want to get a new job, or you want to go back to college, or you want to get a new car or start a new career. Like, what's new? What are your dreams? Like, what's your dream house? What's your dream kitchen? Like, you know, what are some actual dreams that you have? Like this summer, like, you know, my dream is that we will be able to finish our deck and we'll be able to wrap in the pool, spend a little bit more time outdoors this summer. Just sharing your hopes and dreams with the people that you're close with. Like, God puts desires on our hearts, and we should share them with the people that we love. The community temperature reading, or CTR for short, is this combination of 5 practices that you can use in your relationship that will drastically improve the connection that you guys have with each other. It is, you know, flexible. You can do 1, 2, 3, or all 5 of the categories at once. You know, if you only have a few minutes, maybe you just do appreciations. If, you know, you're having a rough day, maybe you don't do puzzles and complaints. Like, maybe you just do the more positive categories. My challenge for you guys is take this week, right? The end goal is to do this every day, that this would be something that you just ingrain in how you talk and how you interact with the people that you love in your life. But a good first step would be to practice this, you know, 2 to 3 times a week. Maybe pick 1 or 2 of the categories and do them 2 to 3 times this week. Maybe you want to just do 1 for a week, or you want to do 2, or maybe you want to do all 5 and you want to do them every single day. I'm honestly excited for you guys. I feel like CTRs are something that will drastically improve your relationships. And I would really just encourage you guys, give it a week, try it, and come back and let me know how it goes. Well, that wraps up today's video. If you haven't already, be sure to drop down below and smash that like button, and also to subscribe and turn on your notifications so you know as soon as the next video is up and available. If you want to hear more from this book, or you want to hear more from a different book, leave me a comment below and just let me know. I'd really love if you guys come back next week. Let me know how the community temperature readings are going for you. If you have any prayer requests and you would like to message me privately, my socials are linked in the description. I would love to come alongside you guys and pray with you and pray for you. But until then, be blessed and see you next time.